Well, I got your attention with that, didn't I? That's right. That's the question on the creator entrepreneur. Ideas, influence, impact, and income. No, I'm not asking whether Donald Trump will be elected as President of the United States, and that seems less likely today. However, it's not over yet, and we have come to expect, at least we should expect, that the way things we thought might turn out differently. That has yet to be decided. However, it came to me that in some ways, no matter what happens, Donald Trump might be one of the most powerful persons on planet Earth. Let me just tell you a little bit about why that might be. True or not, but what it might mean for you and me as we seek to make our mark in the world today. I'm Stan Husted, the creator entrepreneur. It begins right now. Certainly, what is going to happen? Well, we certainly don't know what's going to happen. This is certainly an era of great uncertainty. Who knows? The COVID crisis. What's going to happen there? The social fracturing that is obviously continuing. The lack of trust, and this is very, very vital. This is very important. The lack of trust in other people and the lack of trust in our institutions of society around the world, that is very, very serious. When people lose trust in the things they have come to depend on and the people they have trusted before, bad things happen. And one of the vital things we need to do is have a leadership group of people who will help restore trust in our world today. Now, here's where I'm going with this, just to give you some thinking, and then I do want you to respond. Now, what I'm doing right now is through a variety of new equipment that we have been able to acquire. We can create podcasts as I stand here, and right next to me is my cell phone, and literally all you would have to do is pick up your cell phone and call me, and just like the regular radio programs, you could be on the air and part of our program. And we're going to do that more and more. We're going to ask you. We're going to call you. We're going to ask you to arrange a call, and without having your microphone, which you should have anyhow, you can just pick up your phone, and we can have you on this radio experience, this listening experience, as some people are now calling it now. Here's my point. The President of the United States, whoever they may be, certainly wields an incredible amount of political and governing power. Though obviously, with all of the chaos and the confusion and sometimes the betrayal and all of the hesitancies that go into it, what Donald Trump learned, that he probably had more personal power when he was running his own organization, in which he could hire and he could fire and he could direct. And I guarantee you there are a lot of people he would like to have given direction to, and there were a lot of people, and he did, fire. And that's important to remember. Sometimes that's what leaders do. I've pointed out many times that the people who make a difference in the world tend to be quite different. As I was just talking with a gentleman, and I said, Jesus, lots of people hated him, didn't they? Lots of people loved him. He was kind of strange and different. He didn't quite fit in. And in fact, it seemed that those who were in power, those who were the elite of society, had the greatest trouble with this character. Yeah, this character. I've also, as a person who's suffered and suffered through leadership studies, found out that not only is that true, but oftentimes great leaders don't end well. Sometimes it's their own undoing, and oftentimes it's just simply the fact that the people who were being led and perhaps being saved and helped turned on their leaders. I think particularly of Winston Churchill, that in 1945, 1946, after leading the British to the incredible, unexpected victory in World War II, they fired him. They threw him out of office. It was incredible. Winston Churchill he couldn't believe it. He was deeply hurt. After blood, toil, tears, and sweat, they fired him. And then in one of those classic lines, supposedly his wonderful wife was trying to comfort him, and she said, well, Winston, perhaps it's a blessing in disguise, to which Churchill gave that famous statement, if so, it is quite effectively disguised. One of the things we want to help you do is we want you to have God's creative power in your life. We want the very Spirit force to be there for you to have more power now. God's creative power. That's the deal. That's what this is all about. And ideas. As men and women made in the image of God, we can do what God can do. We can also idea things. Our minds are not instinctual. They are blessed with such an arrangement. And wow, what an arrangement our mind is. Do you know that most of the things about how the mind works, we just don't know? With all the science and technology and brain search, there's just an immense amount of things where people don't know how the brain works so incredibly. Doesn't make sense. It's not logical, scientific, or reasonable. But it does so. And we are given the ability to have ideas. And then we're to create from our ideas ways to influence other people, to influence things, to be a person of influence. And then, with the influence we have, to make our mark, press toward the mark, make things happen, make things change, make things better, rescue, save, create. We can do that. And then, in the economy of the eternal kingdom, good things will come to you. Now, oftentimes they come very effectively disguised. Oftentimes they come to us as a result of the fact that we have learned to endure pain and suffering and difficulty and doubt and despair. But good things can come to you. And if it pleases the purposes that we have, it might even be financial income. But there we are. Ideas, influence, impact, income. And that is the guide for the true creator entrepreneur. And we want you to join us in a way of being just that, the creator entrepreneur. It's around 10 minutes and you say, okay, what's the Donald Trump deal? Here's what I'm saying. There's a very good possibility that Donald Trump on January 21st will be a private citizen once again. But how many people can say that there are probably 70 million people who follow him, support him, maybe even trust him? Think about that. Now, there are political leaders who, quote, rule over millions of people. But that's political, enforced, provisional power. Could it be that what happens is that this one man has 70 million people who believe in him, follow him, and think he is worth supporting? Now, what is he going to do with that? If that is the case, something really good could happen and something really bad could happen. Putin, Biden, all of the people who rule, they may have people they rule over, but they have very, very few people who really follow them and believe in them and maybe even love them. So could it be that right now, in terms of the constituency and the people who support him, and of course, there may be an equal number who feel just opposite, that seems to go with the territory. And sometimes there will be people who will betray you. Isn't it interesting that the great Abraham Lincoln, when he won the election of 1864, when he was running for a second term, the man who tried to overturn that election or make a different outcome was his own general, General McClellan, who he had to fire because the man lacked the courage and the confidence to press on. And so he let him go, and McClellan rounded up a group of people to try to overthrow Lincoln. And surprisingly, Lincoln probably was going to lose the election, except for a wild and crazy guy, one that people hated and still hate. General Tecumseh Sherman, William Tecumseh Sherman. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your profound point of view for the times, he went through Georgia, and he went through Atlanta, and he burned the place down. And it was in that burning down that the North said, the war will be won. And with that in people's mind, they reelected Abraham Lincoln to get the job done. And of course, in some incredible stories, which we will tell you with some of the friends we have, Abraham Lincoln did not survive very much at all past the second election. Great tragedy. So here we go. I just want you to think right now, as you are watching things work out, where is the power? The real power, the good power, the power that makes things better for other people. Could Donald Trump have the ability, unfettered by the politics of the world, the country, and the situation, but with the affection and the followership of many million people, could in some way he be one of the most powerful persons in the world? Just an idea for your thought and consideration. I'm Stan Houston. It's your turn. That's right, it's your turn. This was a provocative, challenging thought. A number of people are thinking deeply about it. A number of people are reflecting on it. And a number of people are as mad as they can be at me for even mentioning or putting forward the thought. That's fine. That's what life is about if you want to make a difference. Challenging and confrontational and new ideas. There will be influence. There will be impact. And there will be, if we do it right and do it well, there will be true income. So, there we go. Thank you for your time. We'll be back on a very regular basis, but you will be on the program going forward right now.